How's it going, everybody? Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sundays, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern, Saturday mornings with Jim Valley, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 Eastern, Sundays with Andrew Zarian. And it's Wednesday on the show. You know what that means? My God. What a life I live. What a job I've got. Did you guys hear last night's Bryan and Vinny show? Brother, that was an all-timer. And we get to follow that up with this show here today. What a time to be alive. First off, we're going to have two co-hosts today. Mike Sempervive and Filthy Tom are going to join us. And then in the final segment of the show, Michael Oku returns to the show. Who, well, we got a lot to talk about. I'll get into that when we get into it. But first off, we will be talking today about Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff and their new wrestling venture. That's right. That's right. They're going into the wrestling game. Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff in 2025. Now, I said, well, I don't think this is going to happen. Where would they get talent, I said. Maybe they're going to be doing a podcast or something. No. They are breaking into the world of wrestling. Now, exactly what kind of wrestling? Well, we'll talk about that after the break. But a lot to get into today. Last night was NXT. Tonight is Dynamite. You can text us. I don't know if we'll have time, but entertain me. 425-780-7566. F4WOnline@gmail.com. F4W Online, Threads, Instagram, and Cameo. $10 cameos, everybody. F4W Online. At Bryan Alvarez on X and Blue Sky. Back in a moment. Wrestling Observer Live. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Filthy Tom and Mike Sempervive joining us. Before we get to the fun here, I want to mention, and this will also be fun, at 2 Pacific, 5 Eastern today, it is After Dark Radio live here on Sports Byline USA. That sexy man in the previous commercial just told you all about it. And we got a big show today. It'll be no guest, but I got a lot of emails that you guys have been sending about weird things that have happened in your hometown. And we're going to expand it today. I want to know if you've ever had a precognitive experience.
Excuse me?
You guys know what that means?
No.
Well, you have a dream of something and it happens.
Oh.
Yes. I'm not talking something stupid either. I want good ones. I know some of you have had this. Doesn't have to be a dream either. You know, you have a feeling like, oh my God, if I go into this store, like, there's going to be a robbery taking place. And then you go in and it's actually happening. I want to know if you've ever had that experience. Send the emails to me, Bryan at AfterDarkRadioshow.com. Let me repeat that email. Don't send it to the normal one. Bryan at AfterDarkRadioshow.com. Or your stories of weird things that happened in your hometown or strange stories your grandparents told you. We got a lot of time for stories today on this show. But that's 2 Pacific, 5 Eastern, Sports Byline USA, YouTube, Twitch. However you're listening to this now, you can listen to that show later.
Hey,
but,
Filthy, do you have The Shining?
Listen, enough of the rigmarole. We know what we all really want to talk about. This is one of those things that we're all here to talk about it, but really all I have to do is read the story and like...
There's nothing anybody will call into After Dark. There will be no email. There will be no story. There will be no development that is more bizarre than the story that you opened up this show with.
I do have to go through those After Dark emails and find out if there is anything weirder than what I'm about to read. Hulk Hogan. It's already funny. Actually, it gets funnier. Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff. Anyway, they are entering the world of professional freestyle wrestling. Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff are entering the world of professional freestyle wrestling.
Noted amateurs.
They announced Real American Freestyle Wrestling, a professional freestyle wrestling league set to launch this summer.
It's the worst acronym I've ever heard.
They also revealed world-renowned wrestling coach Izzy Martinez as that mystery third man they were teasing. You guys won't believe when you hear who the third man is. Everyone's like, is it Vince McMahon? Is it? No, it is Izzy Martinez, world-renowned wrestling coach. God bless Izzy Martinez. I got nothing against the guy, but they literally could announce my name, and it probably would have been arguably a bigger deal than Izzy Martinez as the mystery third man. They will have 8 men's weight classes, 4 women's weight classes. First event, August 30th in Cleveland. Now, some of you may be asking, what is freestyle wrestling? Oh, you didn't know? Well, that's real wrestling. That's amateur wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Not mixed martial arts. There's no punching. There's no kicking. There's not even submissions. It's amateur wrestling. The inspiration for the league came from watching Wyatt Hendrickson defeat Gable Steveson to win the NCAA National Heavyweight title in March and then celebrate with the U.S. president, who it doesn't mention his name here. When I saw that happen, said Hulk Hogan.
Bryan, really?
When I saw that happen.
Bryan, when I saw that happen, brother, and I saw our president.
No, you don't even have to say that late. You don't have to say that, Tom, because he says brother later. It's a quote. When I saw that happen and I saw our president hug him, I went, okay, we're on point. We're ready to go, and instincts have prevailed, and I smell victory. I think we're right on track, brother.
I smell a grift.
The Associated Press added the word brother at the end of that sentence.
Well, no,
now,
they didn't. He did.
Neither Steveson nor Hendrickson. Well, you didn't have to add that. You're doing a quote, dude. You could have done the quote without adding brother at the end, but they did. Neither Steveson nor Hendrickson are currently signed to the new league, although Hogan teased a possible rematch between the two as something. Does anyone care about that rematch? I mean that with all due respect.
Yeah.
Does anyone care about that rematch?
Not in that realm, I don't.
God. And then Hogan says, you ready for this? He says, these kids are young. They're smart. They're watching TV. They know about branding. They know what sells. They've all got that little Conor McGregor swag,
Oh, my
said
God.
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, well.
He said Eric jumped in with both feet. He's doing a lot to guide this ship right now, brother. He's setting so much stuff up production-wise, just moving us forward light years ahead of where we could have been on our own.
These amateurs are going to have to get used to a new type of riding time, which is Hulk and Eric screwing them over, and however this whole thing ends up working itself out, which won't end up being very good.
I think
Period.
Eric described it best, Hulk Hogan said, when he said, if you think of The Voice,
What?
you do the backstories first, so the people care about the athletes, and you see where they started, the injuries, what type of family background they have. And in the history package, I think that kind of sets people up to care for the athletes, like Eric said. Eric reinventing the frickin' wheel right here. I never thought of doing something like that. That's where we're going to begin, with the people warming up and getting to know the athletes, and then it's up to the athletes to perform. Eric, did you come up with that on your own? You're going to tell people about the athletes and do a history package, and then they'll wrestle each other? Huh. I
No.
could never have thought of that.
He didn't come up with that on his own. They took it from The Voice.
Oh, they
The
got it from
Voice
The
was the
Voice.
first-
Voice, yeah.
I see.
First show
Actually,
to
you're
do
right.
that, apparently.
They got it from The Voice.
Yeah.
Golly. Well, you have to
what-
learn from everything, right? Tom, Mike, I got an idea. Why don't we start a business together? Let's find something that's already been done that failed spectacularly, but we'll try and do it again. Real pro wrestling. That's what this is, real pro wrestling. Do you think they're aware that someone tried this before and it spectacularly failed? Tom, the floor is yours.
What would you like me to say, brother?
I don't know. You were
That
giddy.
hasn't been
You were
said
giddy.
already.
The first 7 texts or whatever I got this morning were all from you, giddy. Izzy Martinez?
Almost died.
Izzy Martinez as the third man.
The third
I could
man.
not believe it. In a million years.
He's the Hulk Hogan of this NWO,
That's
right? Because
true.
Hogan was a third
Yeah.
man.
I'd love to know who they talked to about this, if he was the first choice. Did we go to Tom Brands? Did we go to Dan Gable? Did we go to Cale Steve? No, let's go to Izzy
on.
and see.
Hold on.
Go
There's
ahead.
also that has just popped up recently is the Claw Wrestling League, which is set to debut with professional teams backed by Billy Baldwin. Is
Billy
involved.
Baldwin?
Billy
Hey,
Baldwin is
big
involved in
wrestling
that.
fan.
So
Big
not
amateur
only
fan.
not only do we have the Real American Freestyle Wrestling popping up, but we also have Claw, which has already been established. They actually just held the U.S. Open here. So Real American Freestyle Wrestling is the upstart company in the world of wrestling. They're already swimming upstream. Although, hey, they said they got Ben Askren on
Hey,
board.
do you guys have any investment
hasn't wrestled
money?
in
Because
10 years.
I was thinking about starting a third-tier football league. I want to do a professional football league, but only with high school players. I don't want to, and they just have got to have just started. What do you
Oh,
think?
those are Catholic school leagues.
if you can get Baby Gronk, we might have something going here.
Lance here says Mabel would have been a better third man. He's not wrong.
In his current state?
God.
I knew this was going to happen, and I love amateur wrestling. Absolutely adore it.
Hold on, you knew this was going to happen?
Well, just no. What I knew was grifts were coming with everybody, and oh my God, and Trump at the NCAA final and all that. Now, forget about the fact the NCAA final sells out every year. It's a gigantic event. It's a wonderful event every single year. But you knew as soon as he was there, somebody was going to try to take something and grift away with it, and they have.
Stand by, Observer Live.
Did they announce a TV deal for this stupid thing yet? No?
Maybe,
Where is it
maybe
going
it'll
to
be a
held?
success.
Really?
Yeah.
They got to get somebody
Maybe
to
it will.
work to invest.
Yeah.
Actually, I wonder who they work to invest in this anyway, because I don't believe them putting their own money into it.
Well,
Oh, there was a list of investors actually
let's
in
see.
the AP article.
Probably the same bozos who fell for Real American Beer.
Let's.
Well, they're one of the sponsors. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
that'll tell you something. Tell me when Budweiser jumps on board.
Trying to find a list of sponsors.
Chad Bronstein, the co-founder and president, Left Lane Capital, which has backed. Oh, great!
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Backed a couple of things. Shaun White's snowboarding company, amongst others. League One Volleyball. Gerard Peaks Kings League. Cassius is another sponsor.
Cassius.
Yes.
Okay. Hey, listen, more. All the best, guys. All the best. I hope it works out great.
Well, I guess Ben Askren's got something to do.
He does.
Well,
I guess he will be involved. Ben Askren,
Mr. Funky.
Mr. Charisma. No offense to the guy or anything like that, but has someone alerted them that it's a shoot?
Wait, it's going to be. Last thing here says it's going to be on Spike TV.
Who
You
said-
got to be kidding me.
No, of course not. He's
I was
joking
gonna
because there
say.
is no Spike TV.
No.
Oh, that's
Maybe-
right. What did that become? I can't even remember now. Paramount. That's it.
I did like Sticker Reds 202 here says, "Do you love MMA but hate punches, kicks, and submissions? We've got you, brother." That's a good catchphrase. That's a good catchphrase. What do people love about UFC? How could we compete? Well, they allow hitting and, kicking strangling. Let's get rid of all of that. That's what Americans want to see nowadays.
Why would you not, if you're going to try to do a gimmick like this and have teams and such, make it a bunch of amateur wrestlers and college wrestlers and that sort of thing, and BJJ folks, because at least you can show people the difference. People can learn from each other on these teams, because I'm not saying that the natural antidote for BJJ is any American wrestler, but that's as close to me as you can come to one. And the same thing goes the other way, too. If you're going to try to do something with amateur wrestling, you have to invite some sort of drama into it, and you can't do punches and kicks, but submissions, hooks, things like that, I can see that being a thing, and it actually can be maybe educational to get people into both sports. But what do I know?
Well, anyway, that's the story, guys. I don't know what else to add unless you want to say anything else, Tom. Is he still here?
Oh, he's just waiting for the phone call.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, are they going to call you?
It's for life, brother.
You can wrestle, right? They're going to need a commentator.
Well,
I'm sure there's plenty of people that are.
You don't think you're going to be top of the list?
I doubt it.
Do you want to scrub all references to our podcast together from the internet?
Maybe helpful.
Okay. Well, anyway, we got Dynamite tonight, everybody. And we've got Hangman Page versus Kyle Fletcher, Owen Hart Foundation Tournament semifinal match. We got Omega Speedball, Mark Briscoe, and Kevin Knight versus the Bucks, Okada, and Ricochet in a Survivor Series 89 flashback. We got an AEW Women's World Title Eliminator Challenge. Mayu Yamashita against Toni Storm. Now,
Miyu Yamashita, even.
Whatever. The point is, everybody was like, oh, man, Brian's going to rant about this tomorrow. It's Mayu Yamashita. You can pronounce it how you want.
Okay.
I'll bet you she pronounces it the way I did. I'll bet you anything.
Kazuchika.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he does. He says Kazuchika Okada.
I think we know now he's a troll, Brian. I don't know if
that's fine.
him.
She might be a troll, too. But the point is, everyone's like, oh, he's going to rant about this. No. Tony issued an open challenge, and she accepted. What's the problem? Now, frankly, you don't have to call it Eliminator, because if she beats Toni Storm, she should get a title shot. Tony's the champion. I got no problem with that. Her Syndicate will appear. They should have a video package on her, though.
That's true.
Thank you. Hurt Syndicate will appear live, and MJF will appear live.
But not in the same segment? Have they decided that?
Well, they separated that into two segments, but I find it hard to believe they won't be in a segment together. I think they only had a couple of things announced, so they split one into two.
Are we going to find out? I want to see Bobby Lashley and all them pull up an MJF's rental that Bobby stole.
Maybe they
MVP will appear live. Bobby Lashley will appear live.
Yeah.
Shelton Benjamin will appear live.
There's a lot of people
MJF
that are going to be appearing
live.
live on this program. Yeah.
Will they address their enemies?
They might. They usually do. We all do, don't we? NXT was last night. We didn't have time to do the full review because Mike Loku's coming on the show. But that's why we have a Brian and Vinny show tomorrow. But a couple of quick notes. Joe Hendry was on the show. Joe Hendry was massively over. Joe Hendry got his name chanted. The people seem to love Joe Hendry. And I don't know the exact number, but I was told that the TNA pay-per-view, it did do over 4,000 fans for their pay-per-view this past weekend. So we talked about it yesterday. There is still zero evidence whatsoever that the Randy Orton match did any sort of damage whatsoever to TNA or Joe Hendry. But he came out, and the Dark State attacked him. And so we're going to get a 6-person tag next week. It is Joe Hendry, Hank, and Tank against Dark State. And it kind of is looking like maybe Trick is the leader of Dark State. We had several segments that, quite frankly, were somewhat worrisome. I am not reporting anything. Can I make that abundantly clear? I'm not reporting anything. But they broke up Metaphor. They broke up Carmen and Ashanti. And they already killed off Luca Crucifino. And they teased a breakup of the No Quarter Catch crew. That's a lot on one show, especially right after WrestleMania, which is normally the season where people get cut. So hopefully no one loses their job. But there were several times during this show where I was like, I don't know if that's good. I don't know if that's good.
Ashanti not only broke up with Carmen Petrovic, but he got laid out by her.
Yes, that is true. Yeah, it's like they just reunited Metaphor. Like, literally, Noam Dar came back after a year last week. And they were a fun group. And, like, his first week back, they broke them all up. I don't know.
They go, Oro Mens has been killing it on Evolve. And then what was more bizarre to me, actually, was not that Metaphor broke up, but that Lash and Jakara seemed to have broken up as a team.
And granted, Lash is now, I mean, she's beyond Jakara. But, like, they were a fine team. And I don't know. That was worrisome.
They see Lash, they see single star on the main roster, and with Jakara, I worry about her because is she going to float down to Evolve? Is she going to be one of the people that they push when they bring a bunch of women up to the main roster? I don't know, but one thing I know is if they announce a draft, even if they don't announce a draft, but especially if they announce a draft, be very, keep your eyes off, and for everybody out there who may be in peril, keep your phones off, because that's probably when the cuts are going to come.
Why don't we talk about our Ava moment before we have to go to break? Then if we have time, Tom, I'll get your thought here. But I have to talk about this, okay? The main event of the show, just everyone listen carefully. The main event of the show is Io and Jordan Grace against Roxanne and Julia, okay? Io and Jordan versus Roxanne and Julia. So they do this match. Io and Jordan win the match when Io pins Roxanne. Got it?
Got it.
Io and Jordan won the main event over Roxanne and Julia when Io pinned Roxanne. Okay? So then they go backstage, and Stephanie is meeting with Ava. And she says, who is my next challenger? And Ava says, and I swear to God she said this, given what just happened, when Io and Jordan beat Roxanne and Julia, when Io pinned Roxanne, given what just happened, your next challenger should be Julia or Jordan Grace. I said, what? What? Julia or Jordan Grace? What are you talking about? She says they will have a number one contenders match and the winner gets you at Battleground. Like, they have to do it on purpose. They have to. Like, I mean, they obviously do it on purpose. What I'm saying is they have to be purposely making Ava come across as an absolute, complete moron, right? Dude.
At least it's not a battle royal.
Yeah, or at least she didn't pick. At least she didn't pick Roxanne.
Julie was on the losing team.
She didn't get pinned.
Io got the pin.
Process of elimination.
Io got the pin. Io got the pin in the match.
Well, you want her to face Stephanie for her title?
Well, why not? She's on NXT right now. She just got a big win. Get out of here, Tom. You're a gimmick. Back in a moment with Michael Oku, Observer Live. Golly, what an amazing day. It's Wrestling Observer Live. It's Bryan Alvarez, and Filthy Tom, Mike Sempervive, has gone on his merry way, but he is being replaced today by a fine man himself. Michael Oku is joining us for the second time in, I think, 2 weeks. 3 weeks? Michael, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. There can only be one mic
That's right.
at a time.
That's right. I forgot that rule I had here on this show. I was happy to get to meet you in person over WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah, that was very, very cool that we were able to, in some way, again, there were so many people who I was only able to see for like a split second because I was the ship passing in the night. But I believe I got to see you, got to see Vinny, while I was having probably the one full meal I had that day at a place called Send Noodles.
Yes.
Before going to the WrestleCon Super Show.
Yeah, you flew right in and went right to eat, and holy smokes, there's Michael Oku. And I got to see you, and then literally I got to hang out with everybody from the PWF, ICW, when we all wrestled together in the late 90s, early 2000s, all in this restaurant at the same time. It was wild. It was wild. So that was quite a fun time. How was your weekend?
Well, it was very eventful. I'd say it was a super, super rewarding week. I'm still battered. I'm still in pain. Small little things that, from having that many wrestling matches. But considering, I guess, my goal was to make as much noise as possible, I do feel that I accomplished just that.
I got to ask this question because I went to a bunch of shows, and I watched a lot of matches. And I saw a lot of people multiple times over the weekend. And, one of the things that I noticed, obviously, is that, I'll try and make this quick, but I thought about it all weekend. In 2019, when AEW started, and they had this new promotion, and they had one TV show a week and no house shows, and everybody was all excited about, my God, 1 day a week. You're not even going to wrestle every week. It's going to be so much easier on the body and, so many fewer injuries and the whole shebang. But as it turns out, here we are like 6 years later, and people are constantly wounded in AEW. And, same thing with WWE. They have far fewer house shows. They still have all of these injuries. And, what was expected to be like this wondrous thing, well, it really didn't end up being that wondrous because what happened was these guys know they only have to wrestle once or twice a month, and so they go out there and they do all this crazy stuff, and they end up like injured. And meanwhile, over WrestleCon weekend or WrestleMania weekend, I saw all these guys doing all these matches, and like every single one of them, you could tell that they knew I have 4 more matches. So like, I'm going to do the best I can, but I can't go out there and kill myself on this show. I've got to have another match in 3 hours. And I guess my question to you is, what are your thoughts on all of that? I mean, do you prefer something where you've got multiple matches in a short period of time? Do you work differently? Do you go out there and take far more risks when you know you don't have another match for 3 weeks or whatever? What are your thoughts on keeping safe in this business?
I think I'm the worst person to ask about keeping safe because I routinely take very silly bumps in nearly every match I have. And I think my mentality coming into that week was, I don't want it to look like I'm taking any match easy. I don't want people to think, okay, well, he's clearly, we'll give him a pass because there's a couple more matches that he's got to do today. So he's not putting in as much effort. For me, I think wrestling regularly definitely helps keep away the injuries, and I don't know exactly how the science of that works. I think just when you're regularly in the routine of taking the bumps and having the matches, your body gets acclimatized to it, and it's not that much of a shock. Whereas if it is, oh my gosh, I think of examples. Well, let's use the pandemic as the grandest example. The first time I got into a ring again after months and months because of the pandemic, I was in agony the next day. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't do anything crazy. I just did the normal wrestling that I've done before. So there definitely is something to your body callousing the more regular matches you have. Having said that, if I don't wrestle 4 matches in a day again, I won't be unhappy.
Well, that's a little extreme now. But so what is the worst injury you've ever had?
I've broken both my wrists. That was like a year into my career. It was one at a time. I broke one wrist. It healed after 6 weeks. Took the cast off. Broke the other one. They didn't use anesthesia to like set it back in place, which was awfully terrible because I was in Milan. The second time it happened, I was in Milan. And when I asked about where the laughing gas was, they laughed at me.
They were taking
set it in place. Yeah. So those are the 2 worst injuries I had. And then I kind of had a lingering...
Did it hurt more to reset it than to actually break it?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
100%.
Because the only bone I ever broke was my arm when I was in 7th grade, and I didn't even know my arm was broken until my dad noticed it was like misshapen. But they took me to the doctor, and man, that guy breaking it back into place, that was far worse than the actual break.
It's horrible. It is horrible. When it broke, it felt like it was a pain that I wasn't expecting. It wasn't that bad. I was like, oh, maybe this is a dislocation. Didn't know you couldn't dislocate your wrists. It's broken. So, yeah, once they had to they bring in just a big, strong man, a big, strong nurse man. He closes the door and just uses his hands, and it's terrifying. It's a little bit demasculating, but it's also
the door.
What's that?
Did he lock the door when he closed it? This sounds
I don't
horrible.
know if it was locked, but I don't know.
Are you sure you were at the doctor?
I was in Milan. I was in pain. I can't confirm I was in the doctor.
Okay.
To be honest with you, Brian, I can't.
Sounds terrible. So were those the 2 worst?
Yeah, those are the 2 worst, actual broken bones. And then really, I mean, honestly, again, back to the way I wrestle, nothing has been that bad. I've been fairly fortunate. It would just be small little things like, a stubbed toe or just a finger that feels like just like small, maybe like small broken bones in your fingers. I hear that can happen. I just didn't get them checked.
Yeah.
But nothing too bad to make me stop wrestling.
So what was your favorite match over WrestleMania weekend?
So I feel like that's a 2-part question because my favorite match that I had whilst I was in Vegas was my match with Luke Jacobs. That was for Progress. There's two British wrestlers having a match for a British promotion in America at 2 a.m. in the morning. That was the fourth match of that day. Of course, I had just come back from Boston the day prior, and I was very sore at that point. The six-man tag I had at the Super Show, I fell directly on my shoulder at some point, and I was like, oh no. My immediate thought wasn't that, this match, it wasn't that bad a fall. If I hadn't had any matches after that six-man, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to go to bed in pain, but I'm not wrestling. But my first thought was I've got two more matches, especially a Luke Jacobs match, which I want to give my all to. It kind of healed in time. It wasn't that bad. The pain went in time, and then we went for, I think, about 30 minutes at 2 a.m. in the morning to have one of my favorite matches I've had with him, let alone of the week. But then I feel like I did top it with my final match, my eighth match of the week, when I went back home to the UK and wrestled Leon Slater. Don't know if anybody's heard of Leon Slater.
We're going to talk about him in a second.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. But yeah, that was my favorite match for sure of that week, defending the British Heavyweight Championship.
Michael, last time you were on the show, you mentioned to us that you were heading to Las Vegas in a day or two. But I believe, and I was kind of tied up a lot during the week. I had to pick Bryan up, drive him around a little bit. But I think your week actually got started a little bit earlier than Las Vegas. Is that correct? You flew to Boston and wrestled for Ring of Honor?
That is 100% correct. Yes.
You couldn't have given us the big scoop beforehand?
Hey, listen, Bryan seemed to have alluded to it before we went to a commercial break. I seem to remember about me. I talked about my announced matches, and then Bryan highlighted that I said announced, and
yes.
Well, maybe I kind of advertised it without advertising it, Tom.
Yes, he did, Tom. You gotta open your ears, brother. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you gotta shut up and listen. Haven't you ever heard that one? Now, Michael, how is Leon Slater? Have you heard from him?
I have heard from Leon. I woke up to see the clip, and then I messaged him, "Hey, bro, are you alive?"
Yes.
And then after many hours, because I'm sure other people asked it, or maybe he was recovering.
He was in that room with that big guy.
Yeah, he was at least able to use his fingers to text back and say that he is indeed alive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard the night of the show. But I mean, you watched the match. I mean, he jumped right up and just kept working like nothing had happened, which was astonishing. But I do remember hearing the next day that, like, he's starting to feel it. So I didn't know if there was an update other than that. But guy's young. I mean, Jiminy Christmas. That was absolutely brutal. Off the 15-foot thing, and he just splatted. Absolutely splatted on the ground. But got back into it, so. But
yeah, he's not 100%. That much is true. But I did also think to myself, I'm like, man, he is 20 years old, and that is the only reason.
Yeah.
He's fine.
That's exactly right. Like if he were your age or our age, I mean, Jiminy. Now, I was told by a top secret source, Michael,
oh, God,
that your match with Leon Slater was the best match that you ever had that wasn't involving Will Ospreay. Can you confirm or deny that?
I mean, I could say I would confirm that. That's 100% how I felt once the match was done, once I watched it back. In terms of my performance in the match, I would say as my individual performance, that was my favorite performance I've had in a wrestling match, like wrestling Leon.
And what was it about it that just clicked? I mean, you had to have just been exhausted.
Myself and Leon. I mean, again, I was talking and boasting in a way about how busy my schedule was. Leon also was in Vegas having a lot of matches, and we were on different flights. So my flight went to London, and his flight went to Birmingham, but we both landed the day of the show. We both got to Doncaster on pretty much around the same time, just before the show started. And I just think that he and I we're just on the same page in terms of chemistry. Sometimes it's weird to say that you got good chemistry with someone who's just that talented. To me, Leon Slater has chemistry with everyone because he can get a good match out of anyone. And I think we're on the same page of wanting to make the match special, especially because that show was main evented with Mercedes Moné versus Kanji. We're going to have a lot of fans flying in to check RevPro probably for the first time. So we said, okay, well, this is our chance to show maybe new eyes what we're about. And so we decided to put together something that had story beats, but had a lot of logic around us doing our high-flying stuff. And we made sure that we built the match way beforehand, and we made sure to essentially reference promos and backstage brawls and stuff in-ring stuff that we did earlier.
Well, hold that thought. We'll be back with more Observer Live. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Filthy Tom and Michael Oku joining us here today. And Michael, before we go here, I'm just going to ask you a yes or no question. We can expand on this later, and we don't really like to throw anybody under the bus here, but did you see Butterbean versus Suzuki?
I mean, I was the match right after. So, yes.
Okay. Just wondering. What have you got coming up here today?
What have I got coming up?
Yes.
Well, you said today.
Well,
Just to
not
be
today,
clear,
but I mean,
it's
I was
Wednesday.
distracted thinking about that match.
I know there's AEW. I'm
Today,
at home
what
in
do you
London.
have in the? Yeah.
I can
promise.
confirm. Well, actually, I can confirm I called a London number. That's all I can confirm. But what have you got upcoming here, Michael?
Oh, so upcoming this weekend is Progress's Super Strong Style Tournament. It's a 16 single elimination tournament that'll be happening on Sunday and Monday. But for my North American fans, if they exist, I will be making my debut for Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling in Toronto, Canada.
Wow.
Just next week on the 10th of May. That got announced today. So if anybody wants to check me out in person or on Trailer TV, I'll be there. And then the week after that, I'll be in Barcelona representing Revolution Pro Wrestling.
How about that? Maple Leaf Pro. That's very good. Well, let's get some social media plugs out real quick.
Absolutely. At the OJMO for all social media websites and michaeloki.com for merchandise. I found 2 Not John Cena T-shirts that I miscounted in my stock check. So those are available for anyone. Worldwide shipping. Check that out if you like John Cena or if you like me. And yeah, check out RevProOnDemand.com. My best matches that I've had are on that streaming service. So if you want to see my best work, subscribe there.
Thanks so much. And of course, we're out of time, everybody. We'll talk to you next time after dark in an hour. Wrestling Observer Live.